Jefferson, Missouri. She drove and said, Dad, I got somebody in the car. Can you bring it in the house for me? So I went out there and it says, Gateway something. And she said, I went. So what she said, it's a computer, take it upstairs. She went up and took it out the box and set it up and said, we're going to set this up and you're going to sit down here and learn how to use that computer. I am so thankful. She bade me do it. Because immediately after that, I got a call after I retired from UMB Bank and said, we need you to help us over here in some insurance and doing some things here, but it requires information and ability to use a computer. After 2 years, I was able to do that. Had not my daughter, who saw into the future, who said, you need to know. And it literally saved my life. I'll show you how dumb I was, because when we computerized our agency, I was opposed to it. But Thelma said, Chef, if we don't computerize our agency, we're going to be out of business in 5 years. There were 20 independent insurance agents in Kansas, Kansas. Said we're the first one in Kansas, Kansas, or Kansas, that was completely computerized. In Kansas City, Kansas now, there are only 2 independent insurance agencies. Thelma saw to the future. So no technology. Number 6, we must save our young people. I commend you in talking about with education and emphasis on education with our young people. I use the term young because from age 40 back, we have allowed them to miss the things that sustain us, that has sustained us and help us make it through life. In too many instances, we did not or do not do for them what was done for us. But we expect them to come out just like we have. I sure don't understand that. I often hear you can't talk to young people. They think that they know everything and they won't listen. Let me say, it's been about 10 years ago, I volunteered at the Willard Gill Center there to have meals for my church, first day of meeting, on the 29th. And I was there one day, and there was some young people back from washing trays, and I was just having a normal conversation, what I consider a normal conversation, and we were talking basically about sports. And there were 3 there. There was a Hispanic female, African American male, and Caucasian. And we were just chit-chatting, and so we got ready to leave when I said, can you come down to Youthville and speak, and if we go ask our supervisor? She said yes. So they invited me down. And I learned from teaching Sunday school. And I taught Sunday school for 35 years. That's the one thing in life that I felt that I could do better than anybody else. And I think all of us should try to find one thing in life that you could do better than anybody else. But I felt that I could teach from 9th grade till it quit coming better than anybody in the world. And I found out in teaching Sunday school that I learned as much from them as they did from me. So we started talking, and they said, can you come back 2 days a week? Can you come back 3 days a week? And I did. And one of the better things that happened to me now, people in this program, 80% of them either had a choice to come to this program or going to prison. And they were from all ethnic groups. I do not judge, because thank goodness people didn't judge me when I was growing up. They judged me, and they put my butt sometimes too. But then they helped get me straightened out. After I was there for about a year, they wanted to name the building. So they had sent out, ask people, and young people told people at Youthville who ran Youthville, no, y'all don't need to do anything. And as I said, many of them were going to the borderline. And so they could be pretty harsh sometimes. They said, you all can make this building after this home. It was just amazing. I said, no, you don't need that. Yes, we do. We need to name it after you, because I'm one of those persons feel that nothing needs to be named after you. Do what you're supposed to do. And that was from my father. Whenever you get an opportunity to talk to a young person, make it a teaching moment for both them and you. If you start about, when I was your age, I did, and I did this, and I did that, they've already turned you off. They've turned you off. They really don't want to hear that. But you will have an opportunity to tell them that. When you begin a conversation like this, as I say, you turn them off. This can be incorporated into the dialogue once you make it a dialogue oftentimes instead of a monologue. I went to a high school about a month and a half ago, and they said, well, this is a class where they ask you problems, but we want someone to come because we've been trying to find out, was there any black businesses in Kansas? Imagine that, were there black businesses? And they asked the person, said, we understand that you may have lived on Fundera, a former teacher there, and she said, well, no, I don't live on Fundera, but there were black businesses. I'm just showing you how we're completely disconnected with our kids in the school. And so I went up to the school and took some material, because oftentimes now people won't believe you unless they actually see the documents. And they said, this is the class that you're going to have difficulty with. And I was there for my own. The teacher said when I finished, I've never seen this class like this. I've never seen them ask questions or interested. It's all how you approach it. And our young people, just like us, they can tell when you real and when you fake. Number 5, know your history. This is Black History Month. I'm thanking you for the program, what you do. Black History Month in Kansas City, Kansas is spiraling downward, and I say that loud. There are virtually no Black History programs except you find some inside the churches. There are virtually none over here. That's up to us. I go around begging people, please let me come talk. We must continue to teach ourselves about Black history and certainly talk to our young. If you belong to a church and there is no Black History program, start one. If you belong to a social club and there is no Black History is being celebrated, encourage them to do so as you do here in this group. Know your family history. If you haven't done a family tree, start. If it's possible to have a young person family to start searching your ancestry. My sister Dolores took up where even my grandparents have started, and now we know we can go back now. On one side of my family, we've been in this country since 1740. We were here 16 years before they signed the Constitution, and we're still begging for civil rights, but I don't beg. Never have. But how tragic this is. Many have been here longer than I have, and we're still asking to be treated fairly. We should understand that nothing will be given to us. First, we're going to have to take it. Many of us in here are over 70. If you haven't, take yourself. Do it. Or have a family member, a particular young family member, to talk to you and ask you questions. If you live 75 years, you got a story to tell. You got a story to tell. And it needs to be passed on. You make it for yourself. You don't think in terms of it as history. But take the oldest people in your family. And when the young people begin to ask questions, then that's when you can tell. When I was your age, I did this. They'll listen to it then. But take yourself. So we brought a few books that we hope that you can look at, and you might want to purchase them and pass them on. Let me say that doing Black history, to me, the epitome of manhood. My favorite person in history, Paul Robeson. And you hear virtually nothing about him. Never. This man taught himself how to speak 6 different languages and taught himself how to read and write Chinese. One of the most amazing persons who ever lived. And it's a running that you never hear him talk about. He's got his book of the Here I Stand. So when I do presentations, oftentimes I do presentations on people we hear nothing about. But I thank you for inviting me to speak. I hope I haven't spoken too long. But thank you, and Godspeed to all of you.
that's a passion that's in him. You know, we can tell the difference. We can tell the difference. And so we thank you so much for those inspirational points about civil rights. And basically, he's saying, stay involved. Stay involved. The next person we wanted to talk just a little about one of the things that we do. One of the things from Phi Delta Kappa is to try to help inspire young teachers, support young teachers, help them, because let's face it, when you finish college, you knew everything and you were going to change the world until you got into that classroom. It was a different story. Dealing with the people. And so I was talking to Georgia and talking about all the things that she's been involved in, and when she said after being a principal, she began to work with young people and showing them how to do different things, and she said really just support them. And I said, oh my goodness, you need to talk more about that. And I'm sure that's a part of a business, of what she does now. So please keep that in mind, young teachers, that we do have someone that teaches and talks about that. Well, Georgia Berry graduated from Grayson High School in Oklahoma in 1963, and she got a BS degree in elementary education in 1967, MS, Kansas State in Manhattan, and in curriculum and instruction in 1976, and she has a specialist degree from UMKC in educational leadership. And that's where she has spent most of her time, in educational leadership. She has been a principal, she's been a teacher, 5th grade teacher in Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, 4th grade teacher in Kansas City, Kansas, a principal at McKinley, at Silver City, Whittier, and she's done computer testing. She's been a computer testing specialist, and substitute administrator, and she has several affiliations. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. That's that other sorority. That's that other sorority, all right. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She's a member of the Kansas City Community Church, Langston alumni, and of course, a member of Phi Delta Kappa Gamma Beta chapter. She has been married for 49 years, and I know Howard. Howard is a good man, and he should be happy to have such an outstanding, outstanding wife. 2 daughters, 1 son, and 7 grandchildren. We want her to talk to us a little about what she does with young teachers. And so, Georgia, you come forward.
And I know how to look at the clock. And I know how to be very timely, because we are very flexible and creative using time. And as I look around, I think many of us have had our careers and then we moved on to the land of wonderful quiet. But you know, sometimes I do get lonesome to get in that classroom and just do a little bit. And our sorority, Phi Delta Kappa, have a sheet where we were to go into a school, a church, with an organization and read to children. Just read to them. And I thought, that is such a terrific idea. It gives us something to do. Well, I've been around a long time in education, and every minute of it has been wonderful. I cannot really recall a time when I didn't enjoy it. It just became a part of me, and I never thought I would stay in education that long. Since 1967, when I graduated, and I started working in Kansas City, Missouri, and I worked with a group of young people. But mentoring has provided such an inspiration to me, because there we see young people, as I was, 20 years old, walking into a classroom off of 31st in Brooklyn at Linwood Elementary School with young people who really weren't very motivated by anything except to come to school and see how much trouble they destroyed. And being the oldest of 12 children, I had it on them because I had helped with my brothers and my sisters. Because my youngest sister is 26 years. That's how much space there is between us. So I was kind of sort of like their mother with the second group that came along. Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, we can talk about them if we want to, but they have provided me with a lot. And not a lot of money, but it was enough. I never had wanted for anything. So I had the opportunity to be in those classrooms